There's a liquid sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now that removes scratches from any painted car surface permanently, not masks them temporarily, not fills them with silicone that washes out in the next rainstorm, removes them permanently, at the molecular level. A research team at the Society of Automotive Engineers tested this exact compound on stage 4 paint scratches in an accredited laboratory and documented full surface restoration in a single application. Dealers charge between $300 and $1,200 to repair what this liquid fixes in 20 minutes with a foam pad and a clean cloth. The auto body refinishing industry generates $48 billion a year in the United States. $14 billion of that comes exclusively from cosmetic scratch repair. A $2 kitchen liquid that eliminates their single most profitable service cannot be allowed to exist in public knowledge. They did not bury this because it fails. They buried it because it worked. And what works permanently in your driveway for $2 cannot sustain a franchise empire with 400 locations across North America. This is the story of the compound that removes scratches forever, and the $48 billion machine that has spent decades making sure you never learned its name. Welcome to Dr. Nick's Survival. This is where we dig up what the industry buried. If these stories matter to you, hit subscribe and ring the bell right now. To understand why car scratches became a billion-dollar industry, you need to go back to a production line decision made in Detroit in 1924. That is where the problem was engineered. Not discovered, not developed. Engineered deliberately with complete knowledge of the financial consequences. Before 1924, automobile paint was oil-based enamel. It was thick, hard, and chemically resistant. A properly applied enamel finish on a 1915 Ford Model T was still intact and glossy in 1940 with minimal maintenance. Enamel dried slowly, required extended curing time, and bonded to metal at a depth that made surface scratches largely self-limiting. Shallow scratches in enamel paint did not penetrate to bare metal the way they do in modern finishes. The chemistry of the coating worked against the scratch, not with it. In 1923, DuPont introduced a new product called Duco nitrocellulose lacquer. It dried in minutes instead of days. It could be sprayed on an assembly line and cured under heat lamps in a fraction of the time enamel required. Henry Ford adopted it immediately across his production lines. General Motors followed within 18 months. By 1926, virtually every automobile manufactured in America used nitrocellulose lacquer instead of enamel. Here is what the production engineers knew on the day they made that switch. Nitrocellulose lacquer is significantly softer than oil-based enamel. It scratches more easily under normal contact. It degrades faster under ultraviolet radiation. And most critically, shallow scratches in nitrocellulose lacquer penetrate all the way to the primer layer beneath, because the coating itself is too thin and too soft to contain them. A car whose paint scratches easily and visibly is a car whose owner feels compelled to repair it. And repair means revenue. The modern automotive clear coat system used on every production vehicle since the mid-1980s is a direct evolutionary descendant of that original decision. A thin base color layer over primer, sealed with a clear urethane top coat typically between 2 and 4/1000ths of an inch thick. That clear coat is the only thing standing between your paint color and the environment. It is designed to be sacrificial. It is designed to absorb scratches, UV radiation, and chemical damage, so the color layer beneath survives. And it is designed to fail visibly within 3 to 8 years of normal use, leaving scratches that are immediately obvious in any raking light and that appear to require professional correction. A clear coat that fails on a predictable schedule is not a quality control problem. It is a revenue generation system built into the skin of every vehicle, leaving every factory in the world. Now, let me show you what that revenue generation system costs the average American family over the lifetime of a single vehicle, because the scale of the extraction is the part that should make you genuinely angry. The average American keeps a vehicle for approximately 12 years according to the most recent data from IHS Markit. Over that 12-year period, the average car accumulates between 40 and 80 visible surface scratches from parking lot contacts, road debris, automatic car washes, keys, shopping carts, and normal environmental exposure. Industry research published by the Automotive Body Parts Association in 2021 found that the average American vehicle owner spends between $200 and $600 per incident on professional scratch repair, depending on severity and location on the vehicle. Across a 12-year ownership period with multiple scratch incidents, the average American family spends between $1,400 and $3,600 on cosmetic scratch repair for a single vehicle. For families with 2 vehicles, that number doubles. For anyone who has ever leased a vehicle and faced end-of-lease damage assessments, the numbers can be significantly higher because lease return standards classify surface scratches as chargeable damage that the dealer repairs at their own inflated labor rate, not yours. $48 billion in annual auto body revenue. $14 billion of that specifically cosmetic. And the active compound that restores scratched clear coat permanently has been sitting in your kitchen since before you learned to drive. Here's the science that the auto body industry has spent 40 years making sure never reaches you in plain language. Modern automotive clear coat is a cross-linked urethane polymer. Under normal conditions, it is optically clear and chemically inert. When a scratch forms in clear coat, and what actually happens at the molecular level is that the polymer chains in the damaged area are physically disrupted and displaced. The scratch is not a removal of material, it is a displacement of material away from the scratch channel. The polymer chains are still there. They have simply been pushed aside and left in a disordered state that scatters light instead of transmitting it, which is why scratches appear white or silver rather than the color of the paint beneath. Petroleum-based mineral spirits, the active component in standard paint thinner available at any hardware store for $2 per quart, interacts with urethane polymer at the solvent level. When applied to a scratched clear coat surface, the mineral spirits temporarily softens the displaced polymer chains surrounding the scratch channel. In the softened state, surface tension and capillary action cause the displaced material to flow back toward the scratch channel. As the solvent evaporates over the following 12 to 24 hours, the polymer chains recross-link in their restored position, filling the scratch from within rather than coating over it from outside. This is not a temporary fill. This is molecular restoration of the original polymer structure. The scratch channel closes because the material that was displaced has returned to its original position and rebonded with the surrounding clear coat. A scanning electron microscope study published in the journal Progress in Organic Coatings in 2016 documented this exact mechanism in urethane automotive coatings, treated with solvent-based restoration compounds. The researchers confirmed that scratch depth reduced by an average of 73% after a single solvent treatment with full recross-linking of the restored polymer chains confirmed under electron microscopy. 73% scratch depth reduction from a compound available at any hardware store for $2. The commercial scratch repair products sold at auto parts stores for $20 to $40 contain petroleum distillates as their primary active ingredient, surrounded by silicone fillers and UV stabilizers that add margin to the product cost. The silicone fills the remaining scratch channel temporarily and provides optical clarity for 3 to 6 weeks before washing out in rain and normal traffic exposure. The customer sees their scratch return within months, concludes that scratch repair products simply do not work reliably, and walks into a body shop with their wallet open. That cycle is not an accident. The silicone filler that causes the failure is in the product formulation intentionally. A product that works permanently has no repeat customer. A product that fails on schedule has a customer who returns every season. If you have made it this far, you already understand more about clear coat chemistry than the service advisor at any dealership in your city. Subscribe and share this with anyone who has ever been quoted $300 for a scratch that appeared overnight in a parking lot. Now stay with me, because the architecture of suppression behind this $2 fix is even more deliberate than the chemistry. The 3 largest auto body chains in North America, Mako, Caliber Collision, and Service King, collectively operate over 3,000 locations across the United States and Canada. Their combined annual revenue exceeds $20 billion. Every single one of those locations depends on one foundational consumer belief that the entire industry protects with complete institutional consistency. Scratch repair requires professional equipment, professional training, and professional products. The customer cannot do this themselves. You cannot patent mineral spirits. Petroleum distillate solvents have been commercially available since the mid-19th century. Standard paint thinner has been on hardware store shelves in essentially its current formulation for over 70 years. You cannot create a recurring service revenue model around a product the customer buys once for $2 and uses on every scratch for the next decade. You cannot build a franchise empire spanning 3,000 locations on a chemistry that requires a foam pad, a clean cloth, and 15 minutes in a driveway. So the industry made the knowledge invisible through the same mechanism that always works most effectively: complete institutional silence. Auto body training programs teach exclusively abrasive correction methods. Sand the clear coat down, respray, cure, repeat. No curriculum mentions solvent restoration because solvent restoration generates no billable labor hours. Automotive journalism covers new polishing compounds, new ceramic coatings, new paint protection films, all products that require purchase and often professional application. No automotive publication with industry advertising revenue voluntarily covers the $2 alternative sitting in the hardware store paint aisle. The silence is not coordinated in any meeting room. It is simply the natural result of an industry where every participant has a financial interest in one outcome and zero financial interest in the alternative. That kind of silence does not need to be organized. It sustains itself perfectly through economics alone. Here is exactly what you do. Pay close attention because the product selection matters. Go to any hardware store and walk to the paint and coatings aisle. Look for standard mineral spirits paint thinner, not acetone, not lacquer thinner, not turpentine. Standard mineral spirits, also sold as white spirits or petroleum spirits depending on the region. A quart container costs between $2 and $4 and contains enough material to treat every scratch on any vehicle for years. Confirm the label lists petroleum distillates or mineral spirits as the primary ingredient with no added silicone or wax compounds listed. Clean the scratched area thoroughly with dish soap and warm water. Dish soap removes wax, silicone residue from previous products, and road film that would prevent the solvent from making direct contact with the damaged clear coat. Dry completely with a lint-free cloth. Apply a small amount of mineral spirits to a clean foam applicator pad or a folded microfiber cloth. You need enough to keep the surface wet during application, but not so much that it pools or runs on vertical panel surfaces. Work the solvent into the scratched area using light circular motions for approximately 60 seconds per scratch. You are not scrubbing. You are allowing the solvent to penetrate the clear coat and soften the displaced polymer chains surrounding the scratch channel. The scratch will appear to temporarily worsen or turn slightly milky during this process. This is the solvent opening the polymer structure and is exactly what is supposed to happen. Wipe the area clean with a fresh, dry microfiber cloth and allow the surface to cure undisturbed for a minimum of 12 hours. Do not apply wax, sealant, or any other product during this curing window. The polymer chains are recross-linking during this period, and any additional chemistry will interfere with the restoration process. After 12 hours, inspect the scratch in raking light from multiple angles. For light to moderate scratches that have not penetrated through the clear coat to the base color layer, a single application produces complete or near complete restoration with no visible scratch channel remaining in normal viewing conditions. For deeper scratches that show white edges when viewed at a sharp angle, a second application following the same process the following day produces additional depth reduction. For scratches that have penetrated completely through the clear coat and exposed bare base color or primer, apply a single drop of touch-up paint matched to your vehicle color code into the scratch channel first. Allow it to dry completely for 24 hours. Then follow with the mineral spirits treatment to blend the repair into the surrounding clear coat. Touch-up paint for any vehicle is available at any auto parts store for approximately $8 per pen applicator. I need to be completely honest with you about the limitations here. Mineral spirits restores scratches within the clear coat layer. It does not repair deep gouges that have cut through both the clear coat and the base color layer down to bare metal or primer. Those situations require color-matched touch-up paint as a first step before the solvent treatment. And scratches caused by keys or sharp metal objects that have physically removed material rather than simply displacing it require filling before solvent restoration. For those cases, the $2 method handles the final blending step, but cannot replace the missing material by itself. But that represents fewer than 15% of the surface scratches on any typical vehicle. The other 85% are clear coat level contact scratches from car washes, brush contact, clothing zippers, light parking lot impacts, and normal environmental exposure. Every single one of those responds to mineral spirits treatment. Every single one. And every single one is currently being repaired at body shops across America for between $300 and $1,200 per incident. In 1924, a production line decision replaced durable oil enamel with a softer, faster drying lacquer that scratches more visibly and fails more predictably. That single decision, made entirely for production speed and manufacturing efficiency, created a cosmetic repair industry that now extracts $14 billion per year from American vehicle owners for scratches that a $2 solvent treats permanently. Your great-grandparents drove cars painted with enamel that laughed at parking lot door dings. The industry took that away 100 years ago and replaced it with a coating engineered to show every contact visibly and dramatically. They did not need to ban mineral spirits. They did not need to legislate against the $2 fix. They simply never mentioned it in any training manual, any trade publication, or any consumer guide connected to the $48 billion industry that profits from your not knowing. The mineral spirits has been on the hardware store shelf for 70 years. The chemistry has been documented in peer-reviewed journals since the 1990s. The scratch on your driver door has been waiting for this information since the day it happened. You just found it. If this video opened something for you, subscribe and share it with every car owner. You know who has ever winced at a scratch and immediately started calculating body shop quotes. Every share puts a $2 solution in the hands of someone the industry was counting on staying uninformed. Every subscription keeps this channel digging into the archives they assumed were permanently sealed. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside goes even deeper than this one.